just I want to give context to people exactly like that were in your stage. So basically, InSquad is a platform for startups to hire developers, and yeah.
Yes. It's a platform for hiring developers
Yeah.
from Latin America and Eastern Europe, and we're targeting US companies.
Yeah.
Yes, and we work like staffing model.
Got it. Yeah, and in the end,
Mhm,
maybe I'll share some links. Whatever I post this, I'll share some links to your thing.
mhm.
So yeah, and I want you to share with me a little bit the situation before we started working. So it was almost a year ago, like in around July, August. What
Mhm.
was the situation in your account? I remember that you tried to grow it yourself, maybe freelancers. Can you share a little bit?
Oh, let me remember. So yes, so we thought that Twitter is a good acquisition channel,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a good channel not to like attract clients, but to warm it,
Yeah.
to like subscribe your prospects on your Twitter account and share some thoughts. And when people will need your product,
Yeah.
they reach you. So it was our hypothesis, and we decided to um, implement it some
Yeah.
way. I did it by myself. I had a freelancer who helped me with moderation and posting and commenting and so on.
Yeah.
And it didn't work like I expected. So we didn't close any client, but we attracted a lot of prospects with him and also with you.
Yeah.
But as I said before,
What do
I
you think?
think
What do you think was missing with the freelancer? Like, was it the content? Maybe it was like there was something specific, or
mm, I don't know what. So maybe uh, like strategy, some growth hacks that we did with launching threads
yeah,
and so on.
yeah. I
And
remember. I remember related. You had like when we first met. I think around like 200 followers. I remember you were really like maybe commenting on other people and doing the Twitter game, right?
yes, we did it. And but it also generated a result in
Yeah,
terms of prospects. They wrote into DM and asked about startup, what I do, and so on.
yeah,
But when we worked together, we got much more prospects, and they also were interested in my product. But finally, they most of them didn't convert. I think because of the cost of our product, because we are targeting middle-sized companies,
yeah,
and I think Twitter and these acquisition channels that we used is good for uh, SaaS and more like uh, less expensive products.
yeah.
I think self-serve SaaS is a good way to start promoting on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're trying to use a direct sales approach, you should probably invest much more time in building an audience that we did,
Yeah,
and like do it with passion. So you need to write a content not just to become popular and attract new
yeah, yeah.
followers, to engage with your target prospects.
So you
So
say based sorry you based on your experience you think like for your market it was a bit more challenging, and it's more maybe a little bit more for B2B SaaS. I'll add to maybe people that watch this. Back then I was I had less experience than now, and the strategy that I built for you it was a bit like there was some missing parts. So for example, what I would improve in our strategy to help you close like bigger deals, because I did it like let's say 2 months ago, like there was a development some development company, we got like a deal from Twitter, like around $50,000. But for your case, B2B deals, it's more like case studies, customer interviews, and so on. What we mainly did, which it was, it did work at some point, as you mentioned, but we only did like growth stuff and for followers and things like that, which was working a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, I agree with you. Uh, we got followers,
Yeah.
and the, the engagement was very good. But in terms of return of investments, it was close to zero.
Hmm.
Maybe we lost a little bit finally, and but I think the work you have done is really good. So we had a clear strategy, and we
Yeah.
achieved goals in terms of engagement and new followers,
And how
but not
many,
in
in terms of
yes.
deals, it wasn't what you expected.
Also, this no, we so
Wait, so
no.
how many leads we got? Like, I remember maybe 20, 30. I don't remember exactly, like, but how many leads we got?
Let me remember. I think from if we talk about qualified leads, so not just people who ask about product, it was around 10. Uh,
Yeah,
because most of the leads were just like early stage startups
yeah.
without no money,
Hmm.
and we don't count them. And there was around 10 qualified leads.
Yeah.
And finally, just one closed to and became our client.
How big was the deal, more or less, like range of the deal?
Yeah, so we uh, have to find job for one developer,
Mhm.
and I will not like want to tell about
Yeah,
the
yeah. You
revenue.
don't need to explore, like, you don't need to say
Yes.
specifics.
So now he's not working. He's not working anymore. And in terms of our revenue,
Yeah,
I think 3-4 thousand
yeah,
is finally what we got.
yeah. Got it. And we did like, and the main work that we did, it was like around like 30 to maybe 2 months, maybe something like this, right? Like one and a half.
2 months.
Yeah, and now that I actually look at these numbers, compared to other acquisition channels, 10 leads
Mhm.
in the first uh, month and a half, plus closing the deal, it was just the proof of concept. So what was left is just doing this more, because the social media game is just it's compounding. But that's what I'm. It's interesting, Um,
I really totally agree with you. And so now we also do content marketing, but not with the personal brands, but with our emails and other materials that we send to our prospects.
yeah,
So now we more rely on cold outreach, and I guess we became experts in it. We in LinkedIn and email,
yeah,
and yes, we built all of our funnel through it and offline events. And then we also leverage content,
uh-huh.
but from the company, not from their personal brand.
Yeah, and so you mentioned, okay, your main acquisition channels, it's cold email, it's offline events, and this is the main acquisition channels. What I am like, I see like the Twitter, LinkedIn, all these places, this is just like a traffic source. But the strategy is more or less the same, because when you send a cold email right now, you send them the script, but you also send them like some useful content, like a sales asset, for example, a case study, some story,
Mhm.
you give them, you get them inside the sequence. And basically, instead of, like, if you take some of the content from your sequence on email and you post it as content on Twitter or LinkedIn, and a bit refining this to the platforms, then it's like nurturing at scale. This is how I see this now, as I gained more experience.
Mhm. Yep, agree with you.
One last question, like, let's say you right now. B2B SaaS or B2B founder is right now watching this and is thinking about doing Twitter marketing or something like this, what would be one or two advice that you would give them for someone like this?
In terms of Twitter or
In
another
terms of,
acquisition channels?
maybe acquisition channel, maybe growing their business on social media, and they are thinking, to do the test that you did, like maybe try Twitter as the acquisition channel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so now I don't write in Twitter,
Yeah,
maybe for 1 year. So um, for me, Twitter didn't work as I expected, unfortunately. And but I think it's a good channel, and you should have a long-term commitment if you want to find out how it works.
yeah,
So and works with all channels, and you should invest a lot of your time in Twitter to build an audience. So not just rely on ghostwriters, because you should share your own experience and spend really, I think for me,
yeah,
uh, big amount of time to generate really um, outstanding content to compete with our other influencers and to beat the Twitter's algorithm. And if you have a lot of time to do it
yeah,
and you really feel like comfortable with building an audience and all these tactics, I think it's a good way to start leverage Twitter as your acquisition channel.
yeah,
And the problem I see that you like rely on Twitter algorithms, and if we compare it with another channels like cold outreach,
yeah,
you like can uh, because Twitter decide to change their algorithm, you can cut your views and cut your top of the funnel.
yeah,
And if you rely on channels like cold outreach, maybe it's not so romantic as writing Twitter posts
yeah.
and doing it out, but it work like
It
a watch.
works.
So
Yeah, it's not
it works.
sexy, but
Yes,
it works. Yeah,
yes, it works. And if you really can scale it and send around 5,000 emails in a month, so you definitely achieve the results you want. And if you're not like doing bad product, so a lot of people trying to do
yeah,
cold outreach with very not competitive products, and it doesn't work.
yeah. And you have a lot
So
of great tips, and I would add to this that I think Twitter is more like Twitter and social media is overall, it's a way to scale your marketing, but you need to validate it first. And, you need to combine, as you said, cold email. You can also do cold DMs and cold outreach on Twitter. And there is also a strategy that I added a little bit. So it needs to be like a mix. And, you validate it somewhere else, you get some customers, and as you said, like the product is really the important stuff. Like you can send thousands of emails, but if you have a product that is shitty, it's like it's not gonna work, right? So yeah, so I agree with you.
mhm. Yes, so I think yes, sure. So and basically, I think your work was done very good, and I really
Thank you.
believe that you can help a lot of people build their brands and share your experience. Yes,
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you. And yeah, if you wanna do some, plug one of your like insquad.com, right? Like your website, your
yes,
product.
yes,
Yeah. So if
yes, in
people,
squad.com.
yeah,
Yes, and if you need to hire really good developers, especially in AI, and now this topic is very hot, and now I have few available developers who can build custom LLMs, and now we have one client who working with us in building custom LLMs based on Llama 2 from Meta. And now we decided to switch a bit of our focus into AI development and AI developers. So if you need to build your own LLM or other things related to AI and machine learning,
Hmm.
I will glad to see you. We can start a call, and I'll show you
Yeah,
how we actually work.
yeah, great. And there is links wherever you're gonna watch this video. There is links and everything.